Good morning, everybody. I'm Lori Viar at SENTE. This morning we are awaiting the arrival of Britt Fallon, the beauty director at New Beauty Magazine. Really excited to talk with her. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I, grew up to a certain extent reading magazines and learning a lot about from magazines, strangely enough. And I think that's what kind of fueled my interest in the beauty business and aesthetics and skincare. And so today, to have the opportunity to talk with someone from New Beauty Magazine is exciting to kind of, hear what it's like to work there, and, just to experience aesthetics from her point of view. So with us this morning, I have Britt Fallon, the beauty director at New Beauty Magazine. She's been with the magazine for about 8 years now, and she is a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information, and I look forward to speaking with her. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate that.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm a big fan of the brand, and so is our team at New Beauty. So I'm just happy to be joining you today.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about, I was talking right before you came on about, that path to like getting into the beauty business. And there's always, or everybody that I've talked to, there seems to be that one moment in their life where they thought, wow, this is really something that I enjoy and I want to know more about it.
Yeah. So first, I just wanted to say thank you for the introduction and also just show everybody what New Beauty Magazine looks like. This is our brand new summer issue that just hit stands. And, I just wanted to show it because some people may be, perusing Hudson News while they were at the airport in the past, or been walking around a store and seen it and not yet picked it up. So that's the magazine. And yes, my background my full career has been in beauty, but I actually started on the trade side of the industry more than a decade ago, and for a trade magazine called Cosmetic World, which is no longer around, but it really gave me exposure to all sides of the beauty industry. When you work on the trade side, you get access to all of the people who are putting the products together, which really fascinated me. So I was actually going to France and sitting with perfumers and learning how, the juice that goes into the bottles were made, and really seeing that side of things. And it totally piqued my interest. It made me so excited about beauty, but it made me also realize that I wanted to work on the consumer side of the business. So after doing that for a few years, I found New Beauty, and yes, now it's been 8 years. It's been quite the journey. The brand has come such a long way, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. My role at the company has definitely evolved. I started in 2012 as the special projects editor. And in that role, I was really focusing on interviewing all of our doctor partners in our New Beauty Pro program. And that starting on that side of the magazine was really a fantastic foundation for me, because the magazine really was, founded and rooted. It's still rooted in our relationships with our doctor partners. And I think that really sets us apart from everyone else. So, I started in that role and then transitioned into a senior beauty editor role. And now as beauty director, I'm really involved in trying the products and writing stories for digital and print, and a lot of projects along the way, and also have a big role in our beauty awards, which SENTE was a big winner this year. So yeah, so it's a lot. I mean, no day is the same. So I really love it.
That's I think, again, exciting to be in that role. And like you said, no day is the same. You never know what you're gonna see, what you'll learn, what you'll try, who you'll hear from, or a new way to look at something. And in my eyes, New Beauty has always been such a great partner to the aesthetic world, to the dermatologists, to the plastic surgeons, the people that want to know what their patients are reading, what their patients are doing, what their patients are talking about, and having the opportunity to share back to their patients via New Beauty about what they're doing in their practice, you know, how you can do more. I think we can always do a little more than we're already doing. You know, skincare plays a big part of a huge rejuvenation plan. I think skincare plan, rejuvenation plan. And New Beauty has always been a great advocate for that full picture of how you take care of your skin, and how to address not just your face and not just your skin, but, you know, the bigger picture, the body, the face, the surgery, the hair, you know, dentistry. So it's, you know, it's all encompassing, what to do, how to do it, where to get it, resource that, you know, that we absolutely love here. What is that first thing that you remember that really, you know, triggered your interest? The first product, you know, way back, and I can tell you what mine was, and it's like way back, and then you'll know how old I am. But what was your, like, that first product that you remember loving, that you look back now and think, oh my?
So I have so many, you know, embarrassing things that I, you know, mistakes I made when I was young. But I definitely have two products stand out to me, come to mind first. And that would be my Vanilla Frosting Lip Smackers lip gloss, which was my, you know, my 90s like favorite. And then also my Tommy Girl perfume. That when that hit the market, I mean, I just remember walking through like Macy's and, you know, all the reps spraying the perfume in the aisles. And I was just like so drawn to that scent. And that was like my middle school signature fragrance. And so those are definitely two that stand out to me. And then also really, you know, my early beauty memories really come from a lot from my grandmother, who she would order tons of Clinique products. That was like the only brand she used. And, you know, they all came with, it was the gift with purchase. So they came with all these little mini samples, and she would give me all the minis. And to this day, I still have like an obsession with mini beauty products. And I owe that to her. So those are really the memories that stick out the most.
That's really funny that you mentioned Clinique, because that's one of the first things that I remember, and this will tell you my age. I remember that weird computer thing they had on the countertops at department stores that was literally just the, like, slide this knob along to what your skin concerns are. I remember that in a local department store where I grew up, and I still to this day think about that, and you know, what purpose it served and how innovative it was actually at the time, right? To say, tell us about your skin in sort of an analog way, but tell us about your skin concerns and let's see where you come out on this scale. And that was one of the first things that I remember ever about skincare at all. And I kind of came from the opposite side where, you know, my mother has great skin now. She had great skin then. Knew nothing at all about skincare, beauty, anything. You know, we just assumed that it kind of happened. And then you learn later in life that it doesn't just happen, and you can kind of nudge it along, and, you know, take the genes that you were given and manage the damage and manage your exposure, and, you know, really, I think build on what we knew back then. And then the other one are those sticky lip glosses. I remember those really sticky, you know, lip glosses, the bubblegum flavor. Those are my two first memories, which I think are just hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Clinique, the counter, because in addition to the minis that she used to gift me, she would also give me the pouches too. But another big thing was that I was in Girl Scouts as a young, you know, probably in third grade, and our Girl Scout troop leader actually took us to get it. It was one of the badges we could earn, was going to the Clinique counter and having the representative at the counter teach us about proper skincare. And they taught us about the Clinique 3-step system. And it was just, that was so interesting to me. And I remember to this day that she told me that my pores were larger than my friends.
Oh, so no.
I've been forever scarred by that moment, but it is a good memory because, you know, as young as, you know, what I think you're 8 years old in third grade, as young as that age, I was taught the importance of skincare, and that memory has really stuck with me. forever.
Yeah. Thank goodness for that.
I know.
My Girl Scout troop did not do that. FYI, that in retrospect, that would have been a really amazing field trip for us to take. So what is it that you love the most about your work? Like if you were being interviewed like you are right now, what is the one thing that just you wake up excited about every single day?
I would say my interviews. So interviewing is my favorite part of my job by far. I mean, the perk of getting to try limitless beauty products is definitely, a bonus as well. But the access that I have through this position and through New Beauty to the brightest minds in the industry, people like yourself, people like, the board certified dermatologists, plastic surgeons, they're the innovators. They're the people that are creating the aesthetic treatments that are in the magazine, and also access to, celebrities. Pretty much just any interviewing of any kind is my cup of tea. It's the thing that makes me so excited to get going every day, and it's the thing that I look forward to the most.
I think I could agree with you there on that. It's what can I learn today, right? Yeah. Who can I talk to? What can I learn? And how can I see something from a different angle? Because, from where I sit, I always think there's another angle out there that I'm missing. There's something else that I need to hear. There's someone else that can shed light on any particular subject for me from a different angle. And that's what I'm always looking for. What do your readers ask you the most? What are they looking for most often? And just feedback from them. What do you feel like are the most important either topics or tips for them?
So, that's a great question. That's a loaded question too, because, we really are like a fully comprehensive beauty magazine. Yeah. So you're going to get nutrition tips. You're going to get the latest innovations on aesthetic treatments. You're going to get the newest skin and best skincare products. I would say if I had to narrow it down to two categories that we get asked about the most, it would be skincare and aesthetics. Really, everyone wants to know, what can I do to look my best? I would say the interesting thing about how things have evolved is it's not necessarily, I want to look 20 years younger anymore. It's just, I just want to look like the best version of myself at my age. And so we love that, because with more non-invasive techniques coming out, and even with the invasive surgeries, the brilliant minds behind these procedures, they're making it less, the results look more natural. It's less harsh. And, so I would say it's a combination of both of those things. It's like the person who's I always say this, the person who is getting a facelift is also the person who's looking for the best skincare. And it's the person who's also probably taking, good care of their bodies, and with good nutrition. They want it all. And that's what we give to them. So I think it's a loaded question, but it's really, what can I do to look and feel my best? And I think one of the most, the best things I love about my job is that there are still some people who think that, anti-aging is a bad word, or, that procedure is taboo. And what I love about New Beauty is that we just want you to look and feel your best no matter what that is. So if you want to go out and get all of those things, do it, feel your best. We're not shunning any words. We're not making anybody feel like they can't say or do a certain thing just to feel their best. And so I think that really that was a long answer to your question, but it's more of a comprehensive approach to beauty than just one single category.
And I think that's obvious. Like when you read anything, right, in New Beauty, and like having worked for a plastic surgeon for a few years, like all of what you said is so true. I learned that our patients, and still to this day, the plastic surgery patient, the aesthetic patient, is not who people envision it to be if they've never been in a practice. They think that it's, someone who's almost incredibly perfect, who just wants an inch off of their waist, or who, just keeps tweaking things that are already perfect to other people. But what we know in our business, and definitely in plastic surgery, is that the biggest bulk of the patients are the people that want to look on the outside the way they feel on the inside.
Exactly.
When they wake up in the morning, they look in the mirror and they think, that is not what I feel like. That has got to be fixed.
Yep.
And it's just, like you said, a fresher version of myself. I just want to, look the way I'm feeling on the inside, and I want those two things to match. And New Beauty delivers on that. And I think that must be what I love about it, right? I've always wondered, like, what is it exactly that I love about reading this material? And it is because it encompasses the whole being, and anything and everything that you can do. And I do think really appreciate the fact that you don't shy away from any topic or any procedure. It's better to talk about a procedure and to give people the information to make an informed decision. Exactly. As opposed to not talking about it at all and leaving that decision or the information in the hands of someone who won't investigate as well as you will, who won't deliver a really good review of something. So I'm one of those people that thinks that, you have to talk about it. You have to include everything in a conversation to give people the best information about that.
Yeah. And that's to piggyback on that, that's exactly right, because we're presenting it and we want it to be there for you if that's what you want. So we're not telling you, hey, this is wrong with you, go fix it.
Yeah.
We are just presenting it all in a factual, accurate way, and just presenting the options so that they're there from a trusted source if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I think that's, fair reporting, really. Yeah. And that's the way I was trained, right? Report the facts and let people decide for themselves. So I really appreciate that so much. How do you envision, with this like no touch, touchless, less contact society that we're living in at the moment, how has that already impacted maybe your content, the stories you're looking for, and how do you see that changing the face of aesthetics going forward?
So also a loaded question. I think, it's going to be tough for a little while with stores, with retail, with people who love to get, swatch things on their arm and really get the texture and the feel of a product before they buy it. However, there are incredible, I do think that will rebound at some point, and we're already seeing stores come up with really innovative ways to present sampling, in the brick and mortar environment. But there's also sampling, like our New Beauty test tube. And it's just an awesome way to try before you buy. And, it's not just test tube. There's other companies out there doing it with products that aren't beauty related. So, but what I just love about ours so much, is that you're getting full size products. So it's like $30 and there's always a value of over 180, which is crazy. And I just want to throw that out there because it's also a very, low commitment way to get these products into your house and then see if you like them. And so if you can't go in and touch things right now, and to be frank, a lot of people I know weren't using the testers in the stores pre-COVID because they already were a little skeeved out by the fact that 5 million people already touched it. So, it will impact the people who did prefer to use that. But I think we'll see a bit of a rebound and we'll see new and innovative ways in the future. And in terms of our content, we are definitely covering COVID very closly in terms of how it relates to aesthetics, and it has impacted our doctor partners, very much so. But what's amazing is that they were already practicing a lot of sanitation techniques that nobody ever cared to know about before. So it's really just kind of expanding on what they were already doing. And letting everybody know. They may have already been doing certain things, just it was behind the scenes. Now they're just telling everyone, hey, these are all the measures we're taking. I love the idea of the temperature check. I think that's really smart, and it might be something that continues moving forward. And, there are some that are taking it a step further with like sanitation lights and things like that. Maybe they have more high volume practices than other people, but there's a lot of little things that are being done, and I know it costs money and it takes time to do these things. But the feedback we're hearing at New Beauty is that patients are really loving the measures that are being taken, and they feel safe. And treatments and beauty is still going on despite the pandemic. It's not not over. It's by any means. And, you know, what we love about this industry so much is the innovation, and there's just so much more to come.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's funny that you mentioned sanitation and all of those practices. You know, a lot of the things that, like you said, medical practices are now saying we do the following things to ensure your safety. I worked in a surgeon's office. A lot of that stuff we did all the time anyway, or you wouldn't want to come into the office. But it's now funny that, you know, those routine every day, the first thing that I do every morning when I went into my treatment room, everything I sanitized, everything I did between patients, was just routine. Matter of fact, I did it every day, is now a big deal. And we're, you know, putting that out here to say, here are all the things that we're doing in our office. FY, we were already probably doing 9 of the 12, but you know, this is what makes you feel better. And it's so interesting that people are interested in that, right? And that they're educating themselves on what a good practice is doing to keep you safe. So so interesting.
And just to let you know, so on the flip side of our magazine this month, we have, it's called The New Normal, and it's actually a whole nother you know, little mini magazine on the back that actually talks about the impact COVID has had on the aesthetic industry. And it gives checklists and all the information that prospective patients would need to feel comfortable before going back into their doctor's offices. And that's really something that I feel like is really unique to New Beauty. And hopefully, you know, everybody will really enjoy that content as well.
That is amazing. I love it. I love everything you do. Love it. I think that's,
Thank you.
I do. It's a fantastic idea. Like, you know, I buy New Beauty either, or used to buy it when I was traveling through an airport, and it would last me an entire flight, a very long flight, and maybe another one. Or I would pick them up in a surgeon's office when I was calling on doctors. It's just, you know, you're right there. You're ahead of the curve always with your information and knowing what your readers are looking for. That's just amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and definitely skincare has not, you know, dropped off at all. I think, you know, this has shed light on what we look like. Zoom, definitely. I think doctors are seeing more patients concerned about eyes, blepharoplasty, eye products, filler, volume, texture, you know, what's going on here. I can see my pores. So it has really shed a lot of light, you know, on this part of the body. And people have had the time to actually address it and to educate themselves about the products that are out there, to call a doctor's office, to do a virtual visit, you know, with a physician's office, to find the products somewhere to help address that. So it's been really interesting for us to see that with everything that is going on, people are very much, you know, interested in skincare and what they can do, and engaging with their physicians and finding those products somewhere, somehow. So it's interesting for sure. So on that, talk to me a little bit about, you know, your skincare regimen, and how you choose your products personally, and kind of, you know, how you maintain your fabulousness over the course of a year.
So oh my gosh, I try so many products. It's definitely, you know, like I said before, a perk of the job, but also it can, you know, everyone on my team would attest to this. It's also a struggle sometimes, because you're putting so many active ingredients on, you're layering maybe things that shouldn't be layered, you're exfoliating too much, more than maybe the average person would sometimes, especially when we're testing for beauty awards. So I would say I have a routine in terms of ingredients and formula and product types, but I don't have a routine in terms of products, like brands, because there's just so much variety coming my way every day. And I'll get excited and I'll say, oh, you know, I'm going to try this next. However, I'm really, really careful about waste. I try, if I like something, I'll keep it around and I will use it until the end. If it's something that I don't particularly love, maybe the texture is not right, or there's an ingredient that doesn't mesh well with my skin, if it's in a pump bottle and I haven't touched it with my hands, like it's not something from a jar, I will definitely pass it along to a friend or family member, or another member of the team, and, you know, we'll find somebody that it suits. But I would say I'm always using a vitamin C. I used to have some melasma that was pretty tough to fight. So
Wow.
I was always including a vitamin C, and I still do every single day in the morning. And then I'm very, very diligent about hydration. I would say I have normal to combination skin. And so hydration for me, and finding a formula that that really is non-greasy, it absorbs, it doesn't sit on the surface of my skin. That's something I'm always looking for. And that's something I really love about the SENTE products. Because, you know, the HSA is so, the hydration that comes from these products is so phenomenal. And that's something that I think people younger and younger are really, I mean, hyaluronic acid kind of became this buzzword and kind of turned a lot of younger people on to the power of hydration. But it's now like becoming this, people do care about the science, and they are looking for the ingredients that are going to hydrate those deeper layers of skin. So that's a big thing for me. And then also just sunscreen. I'm always sunscreen every day. I know every beauty editor would say that, and I'm sure they all do, but for me, it's like a big, big deal. Everyone in my family knows if you're around me and we're outside and if the sun is shining, even on a cloudy day, if we're outside or we're exposed to UV rays at all and you're not wearing it, I will hound you until you put it on. So those are my big things. And then I alternate in retinoids and glycolic acid into my routine, just kind of as needed. So I have a pretty good regimen going. And, you know, I've learned a lot about my skin and seasonally too. You know, I'm sometimes changing up the textures based on the season, and I listen to what my skin needs. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
That's a good one. And yeah, hydration is so huge. And, you know, over the years, just looking at skincare products and how they've evolved and what we've learned, we know the role that hydration plays in the appearance of your skin. And, you know, looking back at patients that I used to see in my office as an esthetician, or even people that I see now I can see dehydration on their skin. I know that's what's going on. You know, it's not just a feeling on the surface, it's in the skin, it's the tight skin, it's the crepey skin, it's the little collapsed, you know, extracellular matrix where you just literally look deflated. And so the value of hydration in the skin is even bigger than I think any of us realized. And being able to like calm and soothe and protect the skin and reinforce the barrier, as opposed to constantly peeling. When I went to esthetician school and, you know, started working in an office, the approach was still very much ablative lasers, chemical peels, and not a lot of like giving back to the skin and reinforcing the barrier function. And I think now that we see that truly that's a better approach, you can absolutely manage in the laser treatments and the chemical peels and the micro needling, as long as you're maintaining barrier and you're maintaining hydration.
Yeah, it makes an incredible difference in my glow and the bounce of my skin. And even, you know, even my husband, he never really bothered with skincare until he started seeing the results on my skin. And I sometimes, you know, would look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, you really, when you find the right product for you, you really feel and see the difference. And now he saw how in love, like, with my skin, like when you find something and it's just that feeling, and he wanted to feel that too. And so now I have him on a skincare regimen. And it's just because men, you know, if they're not married to a beauty editor, they may not, you know, they may steal their, you know, the partner's something from time to time, but I kind of have drilled it into his head, the importance of skincare. And to be honest, it's really, I find so much joy in seeing like his skin change. And so yeah, it's just, hydration is so powerful, and we focus so much on actives and all these acids all the time. And I think it's like, take it down to basics, you know, and really focus on the foundation.
Yeah, or at least start back at that foundation.
Yeah.
Right? Before you build all those other things into your regimen, start with hydration. Make sure you have that, and then work your way up. And then, you know, the other thing, sunscreen. I never wanted to be that person that got on every single one of these Instagram lives and talked about sunscreen, but you have to.
I know.
Yeah, my nephew is 24 now. And he's been covered in sunscreen since he was a child, because everywhere we go, I'm like, oh, you know, you've got to be covered in sunscreen. And it's so interesting to see, the difference in his skin versus my skin when I was that age, because I was a tennis player, so I was constantly out in the sun, like it was my job to just tan. So it's pretty interesting to see the difference there. So what do your readers love the most? Do you think they love serums? Do they love sunscreens? Do they love creams? What are the recurring comments on that?
So serums for sure are, I think that the way serums are marketed, and just, I feel like the word, concentrate is often used on the packaging in lieu of the word serum. And I think just the word concentrate makes people, it is often the case that it's very concentrated and packed with actives and packed with these amazing ingredients. But I think just the word too, and the way it's marketed, makes people think that they're getting more for their buck. And so serums are definitely the most popular formula for our readers. If I had to just take a guess, hearing all these things over the last 8 years. But yeah, we also have this exfoliation fascination.
Right.
So there's a lot of, the acid pads and all of these, very potent at-home peels. People really want to know about those too, and we get a lot of questions about those. And so I think there's this balance between kind of like the soothing and nourishing, and the I want to feel my skin burn a little bit, and then I think it's working. But it's funny because I've talked to a lot of skincare experts overseas, and they think that Americans exfoliate way too much. And I know we do. And so, like I said before, it's kind of just like, I think that stuff all sounds really appealing, no pun intended. And
Very good.
Yeah, and it all, like, it's satisfying when you see your skin, have this reaction, but you want to have the healthy skin underneath. And I think that, it all comes down to that.
Yeah, I think so. And there's so many ways to get that exfoliation, very gently, and you don't have to feel your skin burning in order to know that something is working. And I think skincare in general has come a long way in helping people to understand that as well. Yeah. I've asked you a ton of questions. I've put you on the spot. I know that, you're the journalist, and I've asked you a lot of questions, and I appreciate you letting me put you in that position. What could I answer for you about SENTE and about our products?
So I mentioned the HSA earlier and the impact of hydration. And I just, our readers do really care about the science and the clinical testing and all the data. And that's really what I love about the brand so much, is that you are very much rooted in all of those things, and they're what your brand was based on. So I would love it if maybe you could explain what that ingredient is and how it's kind of core to your collection and exclusive to you, so that everyone can have a better idea.
Sure. So heparin sulfate analog, which is one of our key active ingredients in our products, is a bioengineered form of an endogenous molecule that is in our skin. So if we look back at, all the things that are in our skin, you mentioned hyaluronic acid earlier, right? Hyaluronic acid is in a family of hydrators in the skin called glycosaminoglycans. So in that family, you have hyaluronic acid, you have heparin sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, dermatan sulfate, and keratin sulfate. The big difference between hyaluronic acid and all of the other ones is that hyaluronic acid is very efficient at binding water on the surface of the skin, and you will find hyaluronic acid mostly in the epidermis of the skin. The big difference with all the other ones, the heparin sulfate, dermatan sulfate, keratin sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, is that they're found in the epidermis and the dermis naturally, endogenously. And they're literally the little jelly-like lamellar substances that coat your cells. So in our skin, in our cells, on our cells, we have heparin sulfate and all of the other glycosaminoglycans. It coats the cell, it fills the space between the cells, and then it facilitates cell-to-cell communication, cell proliferation, differentiation. It allows the cells to see the nutrients that are already in your extracellular matrix. It allows your cells to bind their own growth factors, create their own growth factors, and it protects the ends of your collagen and elastin from degradation with hydration. So heparin sulfate analog is an analog, right, of HS, which is endogenous in your body, because endogenous HS is far too big to put it back on your skin and penetrate. We know how that works. So we created an analog, smaller, skinnier, is able to absorb into the skin and replace that lost hydration and mimic the effects of endogenous HS when you have it in your skin. The really important thing to know about HS, DS, CS, all of those other glycosaminoglycans is that they have very short half-lives. You have to replenish it in your skin on a daily basis because it's got about a 14-day half-life. So it's constantly needing to be replenished in your skin to constantly support the deep hydration in your skin. And when you do that, when you're supporting hydration, you're calming redness, you're calming sensitivity. If you think about sensitivity causing that inflammatory response, and inflammation leads to so many other things that you don't want to see on your skin, that makes glycosaminoglycans key in controlling the entire process. And that's why we talk about hydration being so important, right? Think about how your body feels when you're dehydrated. Your skin feels the same way when it's dehydrated. So that's the core technology that's in what we call our core products, our dermal repair cream, dermal contour press serum, intensive biocomplete cream, biocomplete serum, illuminate, which is for your eyes, and neck firming cream. It is just, we call it the master hydrator for a reason, because it hydrates, but it really supports the cell's ability to function as a healthy cell.
Mm-hmm. And so this is the dermal repair cream, and this is actually, I use this all the time.
Nice.
And I love this product because I know that it's marketed, I think, toward more mature skin, but with with more who had more UV exposure throughout their lifetime. Yeah. But I was part of that 90s. I worked at a tanning bed.
Me too.
I did when I was in high school, and I was part of that that whole generation before, we knew it was bad, but we didn't really know. And I mean, that's the excuse I tell myself.
Right.
But so even though I'm not in my 50s or 60s or whatever, I still have a lot of UV exposure from an early age that I know is going to come up at some point. So what I love about this product is that I feel like I'm kind of helping to repair what's still underneath, so that so that it's when it does come to the surface, it's not as bad. And that's what I think when I put this product on. I feel like I'm helping my kind of slightly damaged cells act healthier. Does that seem like it would be?
It's a great idea. No, absolutely great idea, because when we're younger, skin's healthy, the hydration's there, the cells will create some heparin sulfate to replace it as it's lost. But, any form of damage, inflammation, environmental exposure, and aging reduces the amount of HS you have in your skin, reduces the activity of the HS that's left. So, for me, even though it is targeted maybe at someone that has slightly more visible damage, we know that dermal repair cream is ideal for anyone that basically goes outside, has been exposed to any environmental source of damage that is going to, cause skin aging at some point, because we know that HS has to be replenished in the skin. It's a nice light texture. It doesn't clog your pores. It doesn't feel oily at all. Mm-hmm.
It's silky. It's not greasy at all. And like I said earlier, that's something that I look for in any hydrator I use. And then I also wanted to point out, I mentioned my obsession with sunscreen. And I have in COVID I have not put foundation on my face in a while. And instead I'm using tinted sunscreens. And I have to tell you while I have you that I love this one.
Nice.
It's the Invisible Shield tinted, and it's SPF 52. And you opened it up to questions. So my question for you is, I don't typically see SPF 52 often. So what is how did that come about?
How did that happen? Right. Well, we just wanted to be different. No kidding. So, when sunscreens are tested, under the FDA guidelines, the way that they have to be applied to the skin, the amount that's applied to the skin, the light that is applied to the skin for certain amounts of time, to test out a sunscreen and its SPF, that's what it came out to, right? The tinted yielded out to an SPF of 52. And that's thanks to the sunscreen ingredients, but then the iron oxide spheres that are in it for color made it a 52 versus the untinted, which is a 49, right? So the difference of the two is the iron oxide spheres, but that's what it tested out to when it was tested for protection, because all sunscreens have to be tested to prove their SPF. That's what they tested out to. So we went with it. And there are a few others on the market. I've seen some 46s and I've seen some 23s. So they're out there, but I think the consumer, we're most accustomed to seeing 15, 30, 45, 50, 55, right? So it's different.
Yeah. So I guess for the more mass brands, are they typically rounding then to whatever number maybe it tests out closest to get that 50 or 75?
That's a good question. And it could be that a 30 tests out to be over 30. Maybe it's 30.5, maybe it's 31, and 30 is just, looks better on the packaging. That would be probably the most likely scenario, is that they're putting a nice round number on the package, but know that you would round up, so it can't test out to 29.2 and then round it up to 30. So that's typically the scenario. And or maybe with certain ingredients, maybe some of your chemical ingredients or your physical ingredients, maybe you can be a little more exactly specific about where it's going to land. But for the most part, I would say that, it's, 31, let's call it 30.
Yeah. And I just want to say my last one that I wanted to make sure that I told you that I loved is, and I think you already know this, but it's the Daily Soothing Cleanser. And this actually won our beauty award this year, which but for everyone tuning in, this actually won in our post-procedure kit category of our beauty awards, which is something very true to New Beauty's DNA, the fact that we have a post-procedure kit in our beauty awards. But it's awesome. I love it so much because you're getting these treatments. Our readers are getting, maybe they're getting a laser or they're getting a chemical peel, or they've had microneedling and they need, their doctor says, oh, you need a gentle cleanser, you need something without fragrance, you need something without these ingredients. And I just love this one. And it's a cream, so it just feels so nice and gentle on your skin. So I just wanted to make sure that I told everybody about this because, like I said, we do have a lot of people looking for those options if, you have a routine where those types of treatments are in your annual regimen.
Yeah,
so
no, that's huge. Thank
you.
Good. I'm glad you do. It is, it's a great product. And when you're looking for cleansers for patients in a practice, when they've had a laser treatment or they've had a chemical peel, or they just have very dry, sensitive skin, you need something that is going to get the skin clean, but comfort the skin at the same time. And that cleanser, the texture is amazing, right? It's like this milky, creamy texture, removes your makeup, it gets your skin clean, but it doesn't dry your skin. It actually has some ingredients in it that leave moisture on your skin, support moisture in your skin. It also has ingredients that cool the surface of the skin. So it's really cool if you're, having a photofacial, or you've had microneedling, or you've had injectables, and you need your skin to cool down before you leave the office, you can use Daily Soothing Cleanser in the office to remove, the gel from an IPL treatment or what's left over after microneedling, and you're cooling and soothing the skin at the same time that you're cleansing, which is really nice.
Yes, so nice. Someone asked, they said they couldn't see it and it was backwards, so I was just trying to hold it up again. It's the Daily Soothing Cleanser.
Yes.
SENTE.
Yes. It's SENTE Daily Soothing Cleanser. Yes. Thank you. Awesome. So you have a great skincare regimen, right? If you have all those things in it.
I do. I do. I mean, like I said, it's a perk of the job, but I feel I really do, I want everyone to know that I see the difference when no matter, it doesn't always matter if it's the most expensive product on the market or, the trendiest product on the market. really find the textures, the fragrances, the formulas that are going to work for you. And when I do that, I literally, like, I get excited with just talking about it, because I look in the mirror and I see the improvement in my skin. And all of these 3 products I just mentioned have become staples that I, use in my regimen in some way or another. And I just really, like, I'm so impressed by this brand. And I just, like, kudos to you guys, because, like I said, we do care about the science, and you are really rooted in all the things that align with what we believe in at New Beauty.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's a passion for all of us. I love skincare. Just like you, it's, it's something that I've loved since I was a teenager. I don't know what else I would do with my time or my life. And I think all of us at SENTE, we really, we're really excited about the brand, the technology, and helping other people, and, what the products mean in your regimen and how they're used in an office, and how it benefits everyone on some level. I know that skincare is part of your rejuvenation plan, but it's part of, like, putting your best face forward every day too.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're constantly striving for at SENTE. So I appreciate that you love it. I really do. You're awesome.
Of course.
Yes. So tell me, before we go, as if you can top anything that you've already told me, what's coming up in the next month or so at New Beauty that you're really excited about?
So so not necessarily this month, but soon enough. So September 9th, we are actually having another virtual New Beauty Live event. So we just had one last week, and it was such a success that the feedback we received was amazing. And we really were like, okay, we have to do this again, and we have to do it again soon. And which is very, very exciting. And, we used to have this New Beauty Live event in our New York office twice a year. And, due to the current state of the world, we are unfortunately not able to do that, but we found a really creative way to bring it to the virtual world. And it was just so fun. Brands can talk about their products and share, our viewers can meet the founders of these brands and really get the education behind the product, which is, again, very true to New Beauty's DNA. And so it will be September 9th. And if you want to follow us at New Beauty on Instagram, you can stay tuned for updates. And that's really all I can share at this point, but it's very exciting.
Thank you. I watched the last one, and really, really fun, really innovative, right? To be able to very quickly switch from a live event, an in-person event, to a live digital event.
Right.
Guys, perfect as always. It was a fantastic event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're awesome. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate you
Of course.
joining us to talk to us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. And, thanks to everybody for listening, and definitely send us a DM on New Beauty if you'd like a complimentary digital version of the issue, if you're not getting out to the store to grab one, and we'll send that to you. And thanks again for having me.
Yes,
we'll
thank you. Yes, ma'am. Have a good day. Thank you.
You too.
Thanks.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.